Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach? That's uncertainty, a universal feeling when we face the unknown. We crave certainty, making plans and routines to feel safe. But life is unpredictable, and uncertainty is always there. It's like walking a tightrope, every step filled with tension. Our journey is about learning to live with uncertainty, finding our footing even when the ground feels shaky. Our deep-seated fear of uncertainty isn't a personal failing or a sign of weakness. It's a feature, not a bug, of our human operating system. Our brains are magnificent, ancient machines designed with one primary directive: keep us alive. For our ancestors, the world was filled with very real, immediate dangers. An unfamiliar sound in the bushes could mean a predator was nearby. An unknown plant could be poisonous. In that context, uncertainty was a direct threat to survival. The brain developed a powerful alarm system, the amygdala, to scan for potential dangers and trigger a rapid fight or flight response. Not knowing was a signal to be on high alert. This ancient wiring is still very much active within us today. Even though we are not typically facing saber-toothed tigers, our brains react to modern uncertainties with the same primal urgency. A vague email from your boss, a strange noise from your car, or an uncertain economic forecast can all trigger that same internal alarm. Your brain doesn't easily distinguish between a physical threat and an emotional or social one. To your amygdala, uncertainty equals danger. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing your body to face a threat that, in today's world, is often abstract and undefined. This biological response is why uncertainty feels so physically and emotionally draining. It puts our bodies into a prolonged state of emergency readiness. This constant state of high alert is exhausting. It can lead to anxiety, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. We are essentially living with our foot hovering over the gas pedal, ready to speed away from a danger we can't even see. Our brains are trying to protect us by filling in the blanks with worst-case scenarios. It's a survival mechanism that, while once incredibly useful, can now become a source of chronic stress in our complex, ever-changing world. Understanding this psychological and biological foundation is the first step toward reclaiming our peace. It's about recognizing that our fear is a natural protective response, not a logical assessment of the current situation. When you feel that wave of anxiety wash over you in the face of the unknown, you can pause and acknowledge what's happening. You can say to yourself, "This is my brain trying to keep me safe. It's an old program running." This simple act of recognition can create a small but powerful space between the feeling and your reaction, giving you a chance to choose a different path than automatic fear. When faced with uncertainty, our minds create stories. Often, these are fear-driven narratives. We can challenge these stories. Ask, is this story true? Is it the only possible story? Choose a compassionate narrative. Turn the page to resilience and hope. Let's start with a simple, powerful truth. Your fear of the unknown is not your fault. It's an ancient part of your humanity, designed to keep you safe. The amygdala, your brain's smoke detector, reacts first and asks questions later. That's why uncertainty feels so overwhelming. Your body is primed for danger even when you're safe. Remember, your brain is trying to protect you. Thank you, brain. We are safe right now. We crave predictability because it gives us a sense of control in a chaotic world. Routines and plans help us feel grounded and secure, freeing our minds for creativity and connection. But perfect control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable. The real work is learning to loosen our grip, finding stability within ourselves, and choosing how we respond. That is where our true power lies. When uncertainty triggers our internal alarm, the brain's stress system goes into overdrive. Chronic uncertainty keeps this alarm blaring, flooding us with stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, this damages our health, weakening immunity, disrupting sleep, and clouding our thinking. Our brains become wired for anxiety, making us more reactive and less able to calm down. Understanding this helps us see anxiety as a biological process, one we can learn to regulate, not just endure. Our brains constantly predict what's next, but uncertainty scrambles the system. Lacking answers, we imagine worst-case scenarios, our brain's way of preparing for danger. The problem? Our bodies react as if these imagined threats are real. By noticing this pattern, we can challenge our brain's fearful stories and consider more hopeful outcomes. Remember, a worry is just a prediction, not a fact. Problem solving is healthy, but overthinking traps us in anxiety. We replay scenarios, trying to control uncertainty with thought alone. This mental hamster wheel only deepens our fears. The first step to freedom is noticing when we're stuck and gently naming it. In that awareness, we can choose to step off the wheel and return to the present. Past hurts shape how we react to uncertainty now. Old emotional blueprints get triggered by new situations, making today's fears feel bigger. Trauma can keep our nervous system on high alert, blurring past and present. Healing means recognizing these echoes and reminding ourselves, I am safe now. With compassion, we can update our responses and move forward with strength. Fear creates a cycle. Uncertainty triggers anxiety, so we avoid or seek reassurance. These safety behaviors bring short-term relief, but reinforce our fears long-term. Our world shrinks as we try to control everything. Breaking the cycle means facing discomfort, bit by bit, and learning we can handle it. Each brave step teaches our brain we're more resilient than we think. Anxiety isn't just in our minds, it lives in our bodies. Chronic stress shows up as tension, pain, and exhaustion. We can't think our way out. We must soothe our bodies directly. Practices like deep breathing, movement, and mindful touch help calm the nervous system. True healing means caring for both mind and body, creating safety from the inside out. When a storm of uncertainty hits, our minds can feel like a ship tossed on a chaotic sea. Grounding is the practice of anchoring ourselves in the present moment. Simple techniques, like noticing what you see, feel, and hear, help you reconnect with reality. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to find calm, no matter how turbulent life gets. Our minds are powerful storytellers. When faced with the blank page of uncertainty, they quickly write a script, and as we've learned, it's often a horror story. The good news is that we don't have to accept the first draft. We have the power to become the editors of our own minds. This means learning to catch our anxious thoughts and challenge them with curiosity and compassion. It's not about arguing with yourself or pretending everything is fine. It's about questioning the narrative of fear and intentionally creating a more balanced and courageous one. This is a core practice of what therapists call cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. The first step is to simply notice the story you are telling yourself. When you feel that familiar spike of anxiety, pause and ask, what thought just went through my mind? What am I afraid will happen? Write it down if you can. Getting the thought out of your head and onto paper robs it of some of its power. You can see it for what it is, a collection of words, a sentence, a story, not an undeniable fact. For example, the story might be, I'm going to fail this presentation, and everyone will think I'm incompetent. That is the fear script. Once you've identified the story, you can begin to question it like a gentle detective. Ask yourself some simple questions. Is this story 100% true? What is the evidence for it? What is the evidence against it? Have I been in a similar situation before and survived? What is a more realistic outcome? What is the most compassionate thing I could say to a friend who had this thought? This process helps you see the holes in the fear story. You start to realize that your mind has jumped to the worst possible conclusion without considering all the other possibilities. The final step is to consciously write a new script. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending the challenge doesn't exist. It's about creating a more realistic and empowering narrative. Your new script might sound something like this. I am nervous about the presentation, and that's normal. I have prepared as best I can. I am capable of handling this, even if I make a mistake. My worth is not defined by this single event. This new story acknowledges the feeling but focuses on your strength and resilience. By practicing this, you slowly rewire your brain to stop defaulting to fear and start authoring stories of courage. Fear tells us we're alone, but connection is the antidote. Reaching out, whether to friends, family, or a therapist, is a sign of strength, not weakness. Support helps us carry the weight of uncertainty. You don't have to face it alone. Calming the mind and body takes practice. We can't just think our way to calm. We must engage in activities that soothe our nervous system. Conscious breathing, mindfulness, and movement help regulate stress and restore balance. These simple practices are essential tools for creating a sense of safety and well-being from the inside out. Let's talk about a woman named Sarah. Sarah worked as a graphic designer for 15 years. Then, her company announced a major restructuring. Her entire department was eliminated. She was left standing at the edge of uncertainty. A friend asked, "What if this is a new beginning?" Sarah took on a small freelance project. Years later, she runs her own successful design studio. She learned to dance with uncertainty. Mark, a high school teacher and runner, was forced to rethink strength after a chronic illness changed his life. His old way, pushing through pain, no longer worked. With help, he learned that true strength can mean listening to your body and accepting vulnerability. Mark's journey shows us that real courage is adapting, caring for ourselves, and finding wholeness in new ways. Maria always followed the plan: school, university, medical school. But as she filled out applications, she felt trapped by certainty. Instead of asking, "What's right?" she asked, "What am I curious about?" Embracing curiosity, Maria explored new paths, found joy, and discovered a career in conservation. Her story reminds us, sometimes the bravest step is to choose curiosity over certainty. The Miller family left their small familiar town for a new city, facing fear and uncertainty together. The kids missed their friends, and the parents worried. But they chose to see the move as an adventure. Together, they built new routines and found comfort in each other. Home, they learned, is something we create, wherever we are, as long as we're together. Overcoming our fear of uncertainty is not just about learning new tricks or mental hacks. It's not about simply white-knuckling our way through discomfort. At its core, the journey to feeling safe in an unpredictable world is a journey of emotional healing. It's the quiet, steady work of tending to our inner garden. For many of us, that garden has been neglected. It has weeds of old hurts, dry patches from a lack of self-compassion, and rocks of unprocessed grief. When a storm of uncertainty rolls in, a neglected garden is easily washed away. A tended garden, however, has deep roots that hold the soil in place. Emotional healing is the process of gently pulling those weeds and tending to that soil. It means turning toward our past wounds, not to live there, but to understand how they affect us today. As we've explored, our reactions to current uncertainty are often amplified by the echoes of past pain. Healing is about learning to distinguish the echo from the present sound. It's about offering the scared, younger parts of ourselves the compassion and safety they may not have received at the time. This is brave, vulnerable work. It requires us to be honest with ourselves about what hurts. This process is not about achieving a state of perfect, unbroken happiness. That's not the goal. The goal of healing is integration. It's about making peace with all the parts of our story, the beautiful and the broken. It means acknowledging our pain without letting it define us. It's understanding that our scars are not signs of damage, but evidence of survival and resilience. When we do this work, we lower the overall level of alarm in our nervous system. We are no longer carrying the unexpressed weight of the past into every new, uncertain situation. This creates more capacity to handle the present. Tending to this inner garden is a lifelong practice. It's not a one-and-done event. It happens in the quiet moments when we choose to be kind to ourselves after a mistake. It happens in therapy sessions where we give voice to things we've kept hidden. It happens when we forgive ourselves for not knowing then what we know now. Each act of compassion is like a drop of water on dry soil. Each moment of honest reflection is like pulling a weed. This gentle, consistent care is what builds a rich, resilient inner world that can withstand the inevitable storms of life. In our busy world, self-care is often mistaken for indulgence. But true self-care is about preservation, refueling ourselves for life's journey. It's the act of putting fuel back in our own tank so we can face challenges with resilience. Sleep, movement, and nourishment aren't luxuries. They're essential. Setting boundaries protects our energy and well-being. Self-care isn't selfish. It lets us show up for ourselves and those we love. There is a fundamental truth about being human. We are wired for connection. From the moment we are born, our survival depends on the care of others. This need does not disappear as we grow older. In times of fear and uncertainty, our instinct can be to isolate ourselves, to pull away and hide our vulnerability. But this instinct leads us down a path of greater suffering. The most powerful balm for the fear of uncertainty is the feeling of belonging. It is the deep, reassuring knowledge that we are not alone in our struggle. Connection is our lifeline. Supportive relationships are a critical component of our emotional safety net. When we share our fears with a trusted person, several magical things happen. First, speaking our fear out loud often shrinks it. It loses the monstrous power it had when it was just rattling around in our own head. Second, when a friend or loved one listens with empathy, when they don't try to fix it, but simply say, "I hear you," that sounds so hard. We feel seen and validated. This sense of being understood is profoundly calming to our nervous system. It tells us we are safe to be exactly who we are, fears and all. Building these supportive relationships requires vulnerability. It requires us to take the risk of showing our authentic selves. This is the heart of my work on Daring Greatly. It means letting ourselves be seen, even when we are scared and imperfect. It's about reaching out to a friend and saying, "I'm having a hard time," instead of pretending everything is fine. And it's also about being the person others can turn to. It's about practicing deep listening and offering compassion without judgment. This mutual exchange of vulnerability and empathy is what weaves the strong fabric of true connection. This lifeline is not just for our personal relationships. It extends to our communities. It can be found in support groups, faith communities, hobby clubs, or even online forums. Finding a tribe of people who share our experiences or values reinforces the message that we belong. It normalizes our struggles and provides a collective wisdom that we cannot access on our own. In a world that often feels fragmented and uncertain, intentionally cultivating connection is a radical act of hope. It is how we remind ourselves and each other that no matter what the future holds, we will face it together. Title: Integrating Our Stories, 1802. Bringing together our past experiences helps us heal, grow, and move forward with courage. #Emotional Safety Brave Ending #Inspiration, Title 112. Integrating our stories means making meaning from our struggles, connecting the dots, and seeing how challenges shape us. We turn scars into strength, and our past struggles become the foundation for future courage. In embracing uncertainty, we discover resilience, creativity, and a deep sense of safety within our own hearts. Uncertainty isn't a threat to be banished, but an invitation to grow. Life's fog will roll in, the path will disappear, and the ground will feel shaky. But true strength is trusting your inner compass, even when you can't see the destination. Embrace the unknown. This is where possibility, creativity, and transformation are born. Walk forward with a brave, open heart. Wholehearted living is your compass in the unknown. It's not about being perfect, but about courage, compassion, and connection. Courage lets us show up, compassion starts with ourselves, and connection reminds us we're not alone. With these, we can face uncertainty and know deep down that we are enough. The journey to emotional safety is not about arriving at a final destination where all fear is gone. It is a continuous practice, a way of life. It's about choosing, again and again, to show up for your own life with an open heart. There will be days when you feel strong and steady, and there will be days when the old fear stories creep back in. There will be times when you expertly drop your anchor, and times when you get swept away by the storm. This is not failure. This is being human. The goal is simply to get back up, to be a little kinder to yourself, and to try again. You are the author of your own story. The circumstances of your life, the uncertainties, the challenges, the losses, are the setting and the plot twists, but you hold the pen. You get to decide what these events mean. You get to write the character of you. Will you be the character who is defined by their fear, who lets the unknown shrink their world? Or will you be the character who, despite being afraid, chooses courage? The one who learns, who grows, and who finds strength in the struggle. You have the power to write a story of resilience. This work matters. Your courage to face uncertainty doesn't just change your life, it ripples out into the world. When you choose to be brave and vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. When you show up with compassion for yourself and others, you make the world a slightly kinder, safer place. Your journey to find emotional safety in the unknown is a quiet revolution. It is a stand for a more wholehearted way of living, for yourself, for your family, and for your community. Your bravery is a gift to us all. So I leave you with this. Take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. You are here now. You have survived everything you have faced up to this point. You are stronger than you know. The future is unwritten, a blank page waiting for your story. Do not be afraid of the emptiness. See it as an opportunity. Take your compass of courage, compassion, and connection, and take the next small step. Write a brave ending. Or better yet, write a brave and beautiful beginning. The journey is yours. Walk on.